It's May 31st, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a house carrying survivors through a deadly flood, a wedding celebration shattered by an explosion, and a forgotten tunnel beneath a city. Let's begin. On May 31st, 1889, in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, a house began to move. It was the home of John Schultz, sitting on Union Street until the South Fork Dam gave way. In the distance, the sound came like thunder. Nearly 20 million tons of water came tearing through the valley, carrying trees, bridges, cars, and entire buildings in its path. When it reached the Schultz home, it ripped the house straight off its foundation. And something unbelievable happened. The house didn't shatter, it floated. Inside were 6 people trapped inside the wooden home, now being dragged through one of the deadliest disasters in American history. Then, if the scene could not become stranger, an uprooted tree slammed through the structure, impaling it as the current carried it away. By the time it reached the end of Main Street, the house had become one of the most impossible sights of the Johnstown flood. More than 2,200 people died that day, but 6 people survived inside that floating, tree-pierced house. This is the kind of story that makes history disasters so haunting. On May 31st, 1906, Madrid was celebrating a royal wedding. King Alfonso XIII of Spain and his new bride, Queen Victoria Eugenie, were riding through the streets in an open carriage, surrounded by cheering crowds, soldiers, and flowers. Above them on a balcony, someone was waiting. His name was Mateo Morral. Hidden inside what looked like a harmless bouquet of flowers was a bomb. As the royal carriage passed below, Morral threw it. For a split second, history seemed to hang in the air. The bomb dropped towards the newlyweds, but then struck an overhead tram cable, changing its path, and the king and queen survived unharmed. Some accounts say Victoria had turned her head at the exact moment to look towards St. Mary's Church, a tiny movement that may have saved her life. But sadly, the crowd around them was not spared. The explosion tore through soldiers, spectators, and horses. 24 people were killed and more than 100 injured. And then, the newly couple climbed into another royal carriage and continued to the royal palace, where they appeared before a crowd. The queen and king were alive, but her dress was stained with the blood of those who did not. On May 31st, 1578, outside of Rome, a group of vineyard workers were digging along the ancient Via Sulariu. At first, it was just another day. Then, the ground gave way. Their tools had broken into something hollow beneath their feet, an underground passageway that was sealed away for centuries. When they climbed down, they found themselves in a forgotten maze beneath Rome. Tunnels stretched through the earth like a hidden city of the dead. Along the walls were ancient burial spaces, inscriptions, and the remains of early Christian dating back to the 2nd through 5th century. At the time, many believed these shadowy galleries once held the bodies of martyrs. And this discovery came at the perfect moment for the Catholic Church. Across Europe, relics had been destroyed or lost during the Protestant Reformation, so the bones of the Roman catacombs were removed and sent north and transferred into what became known as the Catacomb of Saints. Anonymous skeletons were dressed in silk, covered in gold and jewels, and placed in churches as sacred figures. The workers who opened the ground that day didn't just find a tomb, they reopened the buried world Rome had forgotten. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.